That's a good way to jump off the starting conversation.
Unless you want an injured quarterback.
Over the weekend, we got news that Kenny Pickett suffered some sort of hamstring injury during Saturday's practice. He did finish the practice, but then it was announced on Sunday that he will miss some period of time. We don't exactly have an exact amount of time. Mary Kay Cabot tweeted this morning that the Browns will not sign another quarterback in wake of the hamstring injury. So that means this week, at least for the next couple of days, and for the foreseeable future, the Browns' quarterback rotation will look like some combination of Joe Flacco, Shedeur Sanders, and Dillon Gabriel. Earl, I'll start with you on this. With Pickett out of the mix for the next week, let's just call it a week to be safe. Maybe it's a little longer, maybe it's a little less. How does that open the door for some extra opportunities now for the young two quarterbacks, Sanders and Gabriel, who are still in the thick of this quarterback competition?
Man, when preparation meets opportunity, you must seize the moment. I cannot stress that enough, man. Like, when opportunity and preparation meet, you must seize the moment. Dillon Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders, to me, fellas, got a prime opportunity now to make the Cleveland Browns forget about Kenny Pickett altogether. It's been a lot has been said and written about, he could be Sam Darnold of this year for the Cleveland Browns and things like that. Well, you got two rookie quarterbacks.
So you're writing them off already?
What I'm saying is this is our opportunity for the rookies to make the Cleveland Browns forget about considering Kenny Pickett. If Dillon Gabriel or Shedeur Sanders go out there and ball their asses off or practice hard as hell and show that they can command the huddle, so that they can get out the huddle and command the line of scrimmage and make all the proper reads, all the proper throws, and make some noise and some big plays, that'd be enough to turn some heads to make Kevin Stefanski or Andrew Berry think twice about this pecking order, like when it comes to the quarterbacks. These young quarterbacks, they hear all the noise about, the 2026 draft and Arch Manning and players like that. Well, they're here right now, and they want an opportunity to prove right now that they can be that guy for the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah.
And so for both of them, this is a prime opportunity to get out there and just seize the moment, show what you can do, and hopefully jump Kenny Pickett. Do enough while he's out for the next week or so to be able to jump Kenny Pickett so that the Browns won't have to consider him as a starting quarterback. You move up and you get the opportunities. You're talking about a soft tissue injury here, right? So it's not going to be something that he's just going to bounce back from like that, turn around, he's back up under center, and everything is all systems go. I think that this injury is very important, and it opens up so many different opportunities on so many different levels. We got a preseason game coming up, right? And so when you talk about the limited reps that Joe Flacco has already received so far during camp, it makes me to believe, okay, well then you're going to have one rookie starting, another rookie coming right up after him when it's all said and done when it comes to that preseason game against the Panthers. And so
I think it would have been that way anyhow, don't you? They're the only ones
I don't, because
they're just question marks.
If Kenny Pickett was healthy, then maybe Kenny gets the start. But with the hamstring injury, I don't even really see him playing in that first preseason game. I just look at this moment for Shedeur and for Dillon Gabriel. This is an opportunity to seize the moment and make the Cleveland Browns forget about having Kenny Pickett in their long-term plans.
What do you think, G?
Well, listen, as I was doing my blogs this week, the one thing I said, I went out there on Wednesday, it was on Thursday, and I said, right now it's not a competition. It looks like the Cleveland Browns are auditioning to see which one is going to play, Kenny Pickett or Joe Flacco. I said, but that's for right now. You see, because the great thing about the game of football is we all know all too well, given, even from my personal experience, injuries are a massive part of the game. It just is what it is. And you never really want to take an opportunity, and you never really want to, do victory laps when somebody else gets injured. Because after all, they're all part of the Cleveland Browns. And I thought, to be honest with you, I thought Kenny Pickett had a really nice day on Saturday. I thought he scored a couple of touchdowns on the goal line. And the one thing that I mentioned was the simple fact that, man, Kenny Pickett seems to be using his legs a lot.
Right.
Like, they were moving the pocket. They were doing some read option stuff. He was finding guys in the end zone. There's a touchdown right there. And I said, man, I thought that he really, really did well, especially on the goal line period. And I think he had a really good day. But I also thought Shedeur Sanders had the best day that day. He had 3 touchdowns, the one touchdown he threw. And I'll say this. Now you have 3 quarterbacks. Now you have an opportunity. If you're Dillon Gabriel, you're Shedeur Sanders. Now Shedeur will probably get reps. Dillon Gabriel will probably get more reps. And then you have Joe Flacco. The reason this is big is because of this. If you have Kenny Pickett with a hamstring, how many throws and how much harm do you want to put Joe Flacco in? Because at
in the preseason,
yeah,
none.
There you go.
You don't need
Well,
to.
even in practice, he's only gone through 2 of the 4 competitive practices. He basically
You don't need to see what Joe Flacco is. We know what Joe Flacco is.
We get it. We understand what he's going to be. Now, when Kevin Stefanski last week said there's that opportunity to reshape things, well, that was taken away from him. He got to pivot and repivot, and all we needed to know was this, McNuggets. What did you say when we came on? The Cleveland Browns are not bringing in another quarterback.
No.
So that means these young boys, Pearl, is going to get an opportunity to see what you got. And guess what? When you see what you got to perform. And now, to me, this is the most interesting week in the entire training camp. Because now now it's a real opportunity to see, we're going to go head to head now. Now it's Dillon Gabriel and it's Shedeur Sanders. The 2 young guys are going to get those reps opened up, and we're going to get to see if they understand the playbook. We're going to get to see the throws. We're going to see a lot of it because Kenny Pickett is out, and Joe Flacco, I don't think is going to be taking those reps. So I think it's very significant.
You guys are looking at this entirely differently than I am, and maybe you're right and I'm completely wrong. I'm not looking at this as a 4 to 6 week injury. I've had hamstrings. You've had hamstrings. Hamstrings, particularly early in the season, those tend to be more common and less severe. And I don't know. I don't have the intel.
I expect maybe a week.
That's all I expect.
Maybe a week.
Maybe
a couple
2
days.
weeks. But here's
Schefter,
the thing.
real quick, Jay. Just
go
clarify,
ahead.
Schefter said he will be reevaluated later this week.
Right, I did see that.
So there's no. It could be literally 4 days. It could be 3 weeks. We have no idea. All we know is he'll be reevaluated.
If you're the Browns, this might be the best thing that's happened, and here's why. Are we in agreement that Kenny Pickett has surprised all of us at camp, and then he seemed to be the clear front runner for the job? Am I echoing what you guys are saying too?
I went out there
because the dailies that I've talked to, that's what I'm hearing.
I went out there and I seen him too, and I'm not gonna hate on Kenny Pickett.
No,
when I seen him, he had a solid practice. G said he had a solid practice. So
yeah,
Kenny has stepped into training camp, and he's done okay for himself.
So here's the beauty of it. Like I'm always, where's the silver lining? You know, how is this good? And you know, in football, it's next man up. That's it. You never wish for injuries. My God, of course not.
No.
However, this might be one of the most well-timed, well-placed injuries that they're going to have this year. And here's why. They've established the fact that, and it's small sample size. I want to go on record as saying that. By no means have they said, everybody was off on their pre-evaluation of Kenny Pickett. I'm not ready to go that far, but I do think there is internally, inside the Browns organization, they are subscribing to the theory that Kenny Pickett was a product of their offensive coordinator, who many people said Canada was the worst offensive coordinator that we've seen in recent memory. I said, well, they must not watch Browns football. But Canada was getting dinged, especially friendly fire. Even guys within the Steelers were privately saying, this guy's killing us. This guy, we're not going to make the playoffs with this guy, whatever. So there is a prevailing thought in the Browns organization, which is why they went out and got him, that there's more to Kenny Pickett than Pittsburgh was ever able to pull out. And Kevin Stefanski, as we've seen in the past, has gotten a lot with very little to work with. He took a team with 5 different quarterbacks, including a guy off the couch, to the playoffs. That earned him Coach of the Year award. So I think the Browns brass is thinking, A, there's more to Kenny than we think. B, we think the league might have moved on from him prematurely. C, let's get him with our guy. And let's see if we can make a love connection here, if we can make something happen. And in the very small sample size we've seen, I think he's overachieved. He's exceeded what I thought he was already. He's just looked different. You mentioned the fact that his legs are a huge asset for him. We need that. In today's NFL, if you have a quarterback that can work with his legs, you've got an extra piece of arsenal in your toolbox. We haven't had that. We have not had that. Even when we got Deshaun Watson, we thought we would have that. We didn't have that. He just hasn't been healthy. So I honestly think that in the Browns' mind, they're like, we were right. We were right with this guy. This guy can carry the load. He can be a starting quarterback in the NFL. Now, what do we have with everything else? Well, if Kenny's your guy and he's getting the majority of the reps or the most reps, then you're not getting to see the other guys. But take him out of the mix for a week. We kind of got this figured out. It's Kenny. Boom. Set him over here. We know what Joe Flacco is. Joe Flacco is a serviceable 41-year-old quarterback. It is what it is. Is he going to take you to a Super Bowl? Absolutely not. Might he win 6 games instead of 3? Yeah, he might. But what does that get you? A worse draft pick. But we got to figure out what we have at the most important position in sports with these two guys. Because if they're not it, we'll move on and turn the page real quickly, and we'll get a nice draft pick. We've got 2 first rounds next year. We can move up. We can see what we can do.
The only premise I disagree with was this.
I'm not done yet, but go ahead.
The only premise is that they see Kenny Pickett and they'll move him out because we know what we got in Kenny Pickett.
Yeah.
That part of the game goes both ways, because if you say people missed on Kenny Pickett, some people could say, well, we drafted Dillon, Gabriel, we drafted Shedeur Sanders. Y'all missed on them too, and now they get the opportunity.
Sure.
See, the thing is to be realistic about it. I went to camp. I looked at the footwork. I looked at them get out of the huddle. I looked at them do what they did. There was no difference in the way they was moving. The comprehension
between Dillon and
behind
Sanders?
all of them.
All of them.
Yeah.
4 of them.
You didn't think anybody had separated themselves?
No.
Oh, wow.
I didn't think there was no separation.
Okay.
And one of the things I saw was that when Shedeur got the opportunity, he delivered with the opportunity that he was given on Saturday.
Now, is it? I don't know what happened over the weekend. Is he still not gone with the one with and against the ones?
He was in with the when he threw his touchdown pass. He was with a mix of 1s and 2s. They was moving the defense in, and the other couple of touchdown passes, he was actually going. I think it was the 3s.
Yeah.
And the other ones were on the other field. However, I noticed that Kevin Stefanski and Andrew Berry were directly behind Shedeur Sanders, watching him more intently than I had even thought on Thursday.
Well, they better be. They better be like that on everybody. We don't know.
I think that one thing that you're going to see is when you give those guys an opportunity, they're going to get that evaluation. And Pickett might not be going for that long, but like Earl said, just like you thought that Pickett had something that nobody saw that we didn't recognize, those two might have something that other people didn't recognize as well.
They might. You're right. But the reason, back to my original point of this being perfect timing, I think even if he's healthy in a week, I'm not pushing it, especially if he's my guy.
He might want to push it.
If he might, but the Browns will come to him and say, we make the play sheet.
Hey,
I just feel like as soon as they see he got a hamstring, I just feel like that kind of changes their psyche. So like, I think me and you said the same thing, but in different ways. Because I'm not saying it's the most severe injury, but if he's going to be reevaluated in a week, this is a soft tissue injury.
Sure.
And this is already the beginning of the season. Why press the issue even if he's available to come back next week?
Which is where I'm going.
Yeah. Why even press the issue in that preseason game?
I wouldn't be surprised if he's out past the first game. That's 2 weeks. Here's what and that serves so many masters, guys. One, we know what you are. We saw it. Go get healthy. And you whisper in his ear, you're ahead. You know.
I wouldn't.
Can you get Wally pipped? Can you get Wally pipped? Yeah, you can.
Kenny, the views that are posted today, you need to see your lawyer. Do not take this advice and sit up for 2 weeks. No, when you feel healthy, get your tail back out there.
And what happens if he tears it? Now he's out for 3 months.
I mean,
that's not worth it.
I mean, listen.
You can't do that, guys. You cannot do that.
I get that. But you know what else is not worth it? It's not worth it that you get up out there and they start throwing this football around here and it look like, because there's the problem.
Well, now you're making the assumption that it's going to look like something.
If they're even, we always say, if it's even, what are you going to do? You take the young guy.
So Kenny Pickett's not old. Kenny Pickett, if it's even between the 3, Kenny Pickett wins the job.
But here's
Kenny Pickett's 27.
Exactly.
He's not young.
He's not old either.
And guess what?
Joe Flacco's 14 years older than him.
If it's even,
so you can't say when you say young guy.
If it's even, they taking one of the rookies. If it's even across the board between the 3, they taking one of the rookies.
See, I don't think they will. We'll see. We'll find out.
But here's the thing.
But I don't, guys. we have wildly differing opinions on what's going on in camp right now.
Yeah, the Saturday changed a lot of stuff.
I mean, I didn't see all the stuff from Saturday, but I saw enough to know that nobody is jumped past, and it's gonna take a lot for somebody to take. Now, I do think Joe Flacco could overtake Kenny Pickett.
No, Joe Flacco is.
Because he is what he is. He could be the number one. He probably is the best
Jay,
quarterback
real
in camp.
quick, Jay, before you go, right now, Jay, if the first game of the season, regular season, was tomorrow.
Yeah.
Everyone was healthy. You think Pickett would be the starter?
I do, and I did not a week ago.
Okay,
I did not.
Interesting.
But the people that are telling me that are people I trust implicitly, particularly at quarterback.
Now,
People that have seen him and that know the real the nuance to the position, which I don't. We really don't. I'm talking about people that played the position in the league for a long time.
I'll say this.
I trust their opinions. And now, I do think that this is a great thing for everybody.
I don't think it's
and
good
I
for
would even
Pickett.
say it's good for Kenny Pickett, and here's why. Kenny, if we were at a baseline coming in, did you improve or did you go down? His stock's got an arrow next to it going up. Mm-hmm. I don't think anybody can debate that or argue with that.
No.
I mean, I would listen to an argument, but I just don't think it would be valid. I do think that it's becoming more apparent to me that what Jason has been saying for 6 months is the case. Joe, to me, they're treating him like a camp body, which is kind of odd, but I think they've just decided, if we're going to lose, if we're going to be, why would we try to be 6-11? What does that get us? 0.
Well, listen,
if we're going to be bad, we're going to be 3-14.
This is how I see it. So, the question is, what does the Pickett injury mean for the quarterback competition? To me, it means it stabilizes the quarterback competition. When you got 4 quarterbacks in camp, that's not sustainable, and it looks more like organized dysfunction than anything else. So now you got traditional 3 quarterbacks in, and now the rep share. Sure. It looks a little different, and people get the different opportunities. Which is why I think it's a to benefit. Prove what they can do. Now, we keep bringing up Joe Flacco and the fact that Joe Flacco has not gotten these many reps, and the argument is, well, the Browns know who he is.
Yeah.
He's a savvy veteran that have probably seen.
What are they going to learn from Joe Flacco getting number 1 reps?
He's learned different variations of different offenses and defenses, right?
Those.
But at 40 years old, if I'm going to be the starting quarterback, allegedly or assumingly, right, then I need to get chemistry and rhythm down with the guys that's going to be the number ones. People just acting like because he's 40 and he knows the offense that he don't need the reps too. This is training camp. Every quarterback that's going to be in the mix needs a fair shot to be able to get ready for the upcoming season. And I just don't think that you're doing Joe any services at all by saying, well, you know what, since you're 40 and since you know the offense, you don't need that many reps.
But
like, you don't have to get ready for the season too.
I know what you're saying, and it sounds good in a vacuum. However, this dude 2 years ago came in and didn't know his receivers' names.
But that was 2 years ago.
I know it was. He was 39. No one thought he could do it at 39. I think what they're looking at with Joe is this is the definition of a seasoned, grizzled veteran. We're going to put him in any situation. If the LA Chargers need a quarterback in week 5, and Jim Harbaugh was to call up Joe Flacco, who had just got released by the Browns, he would go to the Chargers and he would kill it there too. Would his Achilles be at risk? Yes, he's 41. His body's breaking down. But what I'm saying is camp is about answering questions. I don't think they have a ton of questions after seeing Joe Flacco. The arm is clearly still there.
The arm is still there.
The brain doesn't erode. So he's there. Joe, we know what you are. Kenny, wow. Okay, we see you. You stepped up. You've impressed us. The chatter inside the Browns organization is, guys, we might got something here. We might have something. Now, the other 2 guys, this is why it's beautiful for them. And this is the thing I love most about it. The worst scenario for the Browns would have been that we're through with camp and we don't know who either of these guys are. Remember what Joe Thomas told us. We're going to find out, and we're going to find out fast. And now we're going to find out even faster because there's no one there to chew up their reps.
Absolutely. And here's the thing. So, the problem is this. The elephant in the room is if they get Shedeur Sanders out here and he balls,
Dillon Gabriel won't see the field. That story will be over with.
Good luck.
What if he balls too?
There it is. Hey, listen, he could.
He could.
And frankly,
I mean, all of these scenarios are true. Neither could ball. Both could ball.
Frankly,
one or the other could ball.
But here's the thing. It's good luck putting the toothpaste
We're gonna
back
find
in the tube.
out.
It's good luck putting the toothpaste back in the tube once you got it out. Because here's the thing. Now it's a difference between Kenny Pickett balling in practice in the first week in shorts and when these pads get on. Now when McNuggets, I looked at the rundown, he said, what's the difference in what's going on with the pads? We'll talk about that later on.
It's coming.
And the thing is something to be said about national television and getting reps. Now this sets the picture for Shedeur Sanders and Dillon Gabriel playing pretty much predominantly the entire game, the first game.
I don't want to see anybody else in the preseason, except for when, after the 2 weeks, and we know for sure that Pickett's healthy, I want to see him the last preseason game. Other than that, man, I got to tell you, we had a conversation with some friends of mine during my baseball weekend, big Browns fans. And we're like, okay, I love doing this. There's a pie, 100%. Cut the pie. Who gets the preseason reps? I said, I want 40% for Shedeur Sanders. I want 40% for Dillon Gabriel. I want 10%, maybe 15% for Kenny Pickett. I need 5% of Joe Flacco. Joe's not going to do anything that's going to make me go, oh my God, I didn't know he could do that. Either way, good or bad. But I don't know who Shedeur Sanders is with live fire in a preseason game. And obviously, the beauty of it is they've got the joint workouts. That's where the groundwork's going to be laid. Because that other team's going to come after him. They're going to want to hit him.
That's why if you Kenny Pickett, you could have solidified yourself and stamped.
He'll be there for that, though.
Stamped yourself as because listen, he got off to a nice start.
He'll likely be there for that. I'd be surprised if this is more than a 2-week thing.
Hey,
I'll be shocked.
That's a lot of practices.
It is. It is.
One day,
but he'll get the joint practices and 2 preseason games.
One day, listen, come on back out here. You got to get to it. Sometimes we talk about this all the time. There's times where you can get injured, and that next dude that come in as a competitor, he don't come out.
Well,
you just don't want. I want to control my own mare on the field. If I'm playing good football, I'm leading the quarterback competition. The worst thing that I need is to come off the field and remind people, because guess what? He only has a 1-year deal. He's a free agent after this year. And you get very small opportunities to become a franchise quarterback in this league. And we talked about Sam Darnold and some of these other stuff, Geno Smith, Baker Mayfield. But listen, Kenny is not a happy camper right now. He is like, yo, put me on the field. I want to earn this thing. Now I think it resets things. I think Joe Flacco probably ends up as your day one starter, and now it gives you an opportunity to kind of see some of these other guys that weren't getting the reps. Now we'll see. It's up for them to take advantage of it this week.
And this is it. I mean, if you're either of these guys, when you hurt, you're never happy when someone gets hurt, especially a teammate. But when you get this news, I would have thought that you couldn't wait to get on the phone and call Pops and call Mom and call Girl and call all your boys and let them know it's on now, because now it's not a 4-way race. At least for the next whatever, it's a 3-way race, and we'll see what happens.
You mentioned perfect timing. I know we got to move on, Mike, but I think what happened Saturday and how the alignment of everything going into the first padded practice today is exactly that. You told me that, throughout most of the day Saturday, Shedeur wasn't getting many reps. Then he comes in late. He gets 3 full-team 11-on-11 reps, and he throws a touchdown in that period. He goes off to the field by himself. And now all of a sudden the head coach and the general manager is watching more intensely than what they have done the previous 3 days during camp, right? This is the day before, the day off. Then you get the news Kenny gets hurt, and both Shedeur and Dillon know the pads is coming on. And something inside of me is just, because you said, we don't know what Shedeur is and under the lights. Well, we don't know what Dillon is either. And so for both of these young men, they got to be chopping at the bit to get out here today and show what they can do.
And the beauty of it is, back to Joe's point, we're going to see quick.
We're going to find out.
We're going to find out.
This is what we want.
By September 1st, we're going to know. We're going to know. And, obviously there'll be works in progress. It doesn't mean that they're done improving, but at this point, you're trying to cram in as much football as you can before the season starts. And for them, they just got 33% more football.
And it's beautiful, Mike. It's going to be hot as hell outside today.
It is going to be hot as hell. And
not just today.
Earl and I will be out there tomorrow, so we'll be back on Wednesday with some in-person observations as well. We're going to talk